May the blessings of God's touch upon your soul continue to bring its rewards and awaken you to greater truth and love in your lives. This one great truth is what I continue to teach in your world and all the worlds. The redemptive power of the essence of God's soul, conveyed by the Holy Spirit, into the soul of the individual, whether they be upon this earthly plane or in the worlds of spirit, so this law continues to have its transformative effect upon the individual's soul, provided they desire to receive this gift and ask for it with the willingness of their hearts, so to know God and feel a deep communion with our Creator. The great love of God is the redeeming force of the soul, bringing wondrous awakenings and gifts and expressions to the soul. It is my wish that all of humanity may know this truth. To understand its simple directives so that every individual may come to understand its power and truth within their minds and within their souls. For it is the want of man to create complex structures and explanations for what are essentially simple truths and to decorate these ideas with elaborate words, which carry the mind off into uncharted territory of thought and expression. There are many teachers who feel they have accomplished something great in their teachings, in this conveyance of what they believe to be truth. In essence, they have created a fantasy, something that the mind revels within, but is truly not a creation of God but the creation of the mind of man. This saddens me greatly, for so many in your world desire to believe the words of another and give over their power and responsibility to develop spiritual truth within themselves to another, and feel that they have satisfied the great responsibility of each individual to develop within themselves a solid foundation of truth. The reflections of the mind come in words and other avenues of scientific communication, such as mathematics, these things that the mind is well versed within and can understand. How powerful are the faculties of the mind? How humanity wishes to continue to develop and explore the potentials of the mind. This journey of exploration has borne much fruit for the benefit of humanity and has taken this world upon a journey, which even a few hundred years ago would have been considered unobtainable. So indeed, humanity proves to itself its own capacities and capabilities to bring truth forward. Yet, because these ways of communication, through words and mathematics and symbols, are designated as the only valid way of communication that can be replicated and shared amongst the body of humanity, those things of the soul are not validated so readily. Some call spirituality an act of superstition and childish belief, a weakness within that individual who seeks a different kind of validation. But the essence of spiritual truth does not validate the mind in such a way that it feels powerful and gratified in the intellectual sense. These validations, which come from spiritual knowledge and experience, are unique to each individual, and therefore, cannot often be shared in a precise way. Rather, these experiences blossom forth, giving not only the mind but also the soul an experience, which can envelop the mind with all its thoughts and emotions and the soul with its thoughts and emotions, making a true tapestry of experience, of feeling, of understanding that cannot be readily described by the individual. Yet, with the soul well developed and its mind recognized, there are many ways in which the soul may communicate and bring forward to the conscious self, the truths that can be understood and experienced in this way. Unfortunately, there are still many who are skeptical, who wish to denigrate the experience of another, suggesting that all of these inner expressions and experiences are of the imagination of the mind, the material mind. Indeed, it is difficult to convince one of such an attitude that these things are as much real as that of the material thought processes and communications. In recent explorations of scientists in this modern day, some have come across many revelations about the nature and makeup of the universe, which indicate non-physical reality and many dimensions of reality which are yet to be understood or explored. It is ironic that because a scientist states such, that people are willing to believe, but when a spiritual man states his truth and honestly shares his experience of the soul, he is often considered a fool. The culture of humanity, at least in your Western world, lags far behind spiritual acuity and understanding. So, those of you who have taken the road less traveled continue to find resistance amongst many who disbelieve and unwilling to support you upon that journey. Nor are they willing within themselves to join you in that journey, for as I have spoken often, the control of the material mind is great and shackles the individual, disallowing any diversion from the straight and narrow parameters of intellectual thought. Yet, humanity has far greater gifts and potentials than the mere development of the mind and intellect. If you consider the great strides that humanity has taken in the direction of material knowledge and what has been accomplished, can you imagine if the shackles were removed and humanity began their journeys in spiritual direction and understanding? Unfortunately, the well-honed religions of humanity reflect yet again the conservatism of the mind and a desire to put the stamp of truth upon the speculations of many in the religious communities of your world, rather than allowing the individual free rein within their spiritual journey, which is unique to each individual. They continue to dictate the terms and direction of this exploration. Even within the Christian churches, there is a great desire to validate intellectually the direction in which the soul may seek and understand truth, and many of the truths which Christian churches believe are entirely erroneous and lack any validation. So the individual must accept these things of religious doctrine with faith and trust that this is knowledge accumulated through the wise teachers of the past, shared within the good book of the Bible and other religious scriptures. Christianity is just one example of many in your world. Great religions established by the efforts of man to teach spirituality and truth amongst the masses. Their motivations have not all been dark or misplaced, but it seems at the highest level of teaching that many of these institutions can attain is to develop a moral character within the individual. This, too, is of the mind. This too lacks true soulful experience or expression, at least in the vast majority of individuals. There are, of course, in every religion and every corner of your world, those individuals who are highly gifted and highly motivated to seek spirituality within the constructs of modern religious practice. So, they find certain experiences, which come with a soul yearning for awakening, and find a measure of truth within these experiences. Yet, often, they are reluctant to share such unorthodox ideas and experience with their fellow practitioners. Though, it is in these unique and beautiful expressions of the individual's journey to God that much truth can be obtained. I would endeavor to encourage all those who make efforts to go beyond the strictures of religious orthodoxy into the realms of the soul awakening to God, that these individuals are spearheading a new approach, a deep understanding, a way which humanity may find its salvation. For each individual must find their personal salvation, that place where the darkness of your world is expunged, transformed into light and truth. In your world, such an effort must be great. It requires deep dedication and desire and effort. The greatest effort and tool to accomplish this is prayer. The sincere prayer given to God, whether it be spoken, or thought, or felt, is the most direct way to reach God, for prayer of this nature comes from the soul. It is as much feeling as it is thought. In this powerful combination of the inner self, expressed outward to God, a response is invoked because of the way in which God has constructed His universe and placed humanity within that construct. It is the soul communicating with God, reaching out and open to God, that will find its way to the truth of God. I speak of faith. Indeed, faith is required for that opening to realize, a knowing within oneself that says, my words and feelings, what I invoke in prayer, is heard by God. So, when a sincere prayer is spoken, a desire is expressed, an emotion comes forth, and the journey towards God begins in this simple way. It is personal and intimate. It is unique for each individual. Therefore, the scientist cannot write a formula by which one may follow and come to God in a consistent way. This is not a material venture. It is a spiritual one which requires your involvement in a deep and committed fashion. Beloved souls, allow yourselves to disengage, if not for the mere moment, from the shackles of the material mindsets and expectations, and go beyond this and beyond your material mind's restrictions, towards that deeper place which each and every individual possesses, the soul. Then progress can be made. Awakening can come. In time and application, one may become purified and awakened spiritually. No organization or individual owns this process or can determine for you the journey that you must take, for it begins with your own choice and desire, and is determined by each and every effort that you make, that is at least to some degree, the expression of your soul longing for God. In this expression and longing, will indeed come a response. Although, often that response may be weak and your capacity to recognize it, may be dulled by your finely attuned mind. With perseverance and patience, you will find your way upon a path that will bring magnificent understanding and experiences and love that God wishes to bestow upon each individual. Each individual's journey is unique. Their experiences will often be unique. Their understanding of the journey is often influenced by the mind's interpretation of such, but indeed the possibilities of such a journey are quite feasible and will come to those who desire to walk a road that is beyond the mind and the intellectual understanding of the world, to that which is of the soul and its faculties. In this way, the understanding of the universe and this experience of life, a journey towards greater awakening and development of the soul, comes to the individual without others controlling and dictating that journey. Indeed, such efforts contradict the desires of those in power, those who suggest they are authorities and experts in regard to spiritual awakening and empowerment. Thus, those who are engaged in these institutions and accept the invitation that I am giving, to go upon this personal and unique journey towards God, will find resistance amongst their fellows. Indeed, the world has journeyed upon certain avenues of thought and beliefs for many centuries, turning these somewhat unreliable perceptions and beliefs into canon and doctrine to be followed by those who ascribe to the religion that is to be followed. I wish to invite and inspire humanity to take a much different approach to their spiritual awakening. To put aside the books, no matter how empowered they are by the thoughts of men and the ideas of religion, and to go within themselves to find God, not in words and scripture and doctrine and dogma, for these things have not truly brought humanity to a place of light and enlightenment. Within each individual is the capacity to truly know truth and to truly know God. This does not require any other individual to prescribe to them that journey of awakening. It is for the sincere and devout individual who truly yearns to know truth and to know God, to come to the realization that within them and with some simple and direct guidance, that they may come to God in a fluid and direct way, opening up all the potentials that are within them. The guidance that I give, and I wish that you will accept, is that one may obtain the great awakening of the soul through prayer, reaching to God and opening to God's love, which emanates from God's great soul. It is free for the taking, and the asking, and free to all, no matter what religion, no matter what ideas percolate within the minds of each individual upon this world. It is given freely without judgment, without expectation of something in return, but is merely a gift from God. Ask for God to bestow upon you His gift of love, and you will find a sense of something beautiful, warm, and loving entering your being and resting within your soul, for that gift will remain within your soul for all eternity. It may be received over and over again. As many times as you wish to receive it, so it will come. How very simple is this, beloved souls! It is the truth in the universe. It is the highest blessing that can be bestowed upon an individual. It is meant to be received by the soul, just as the life force developed you as an individual from the mere joining of cells and its multiplication until you have become a complete physical being. This miracle is self-evident and is well known. Now I entreat you to another miracle, another birth of the individual, which happens within the soul. The soul then begins to grow and develop as the latent potentials within are awakened by the power of the essence of God's soul, imparted to you through your desire to receive it. In this awakening come many new understandings and experiences, things undreamed of by the mind, things which the mind is incapable of experiencing on its own but will join with the soul in these awakenings and experiences with God. With such awakenings, with such new experiences, comes the opening of whole new vistas of reality and truth, all infused with love, so that the individual's priorities and thoughts, desires, inclinations are changed by this great gift. This change will be a permanent awakening within the individual. A new truth is formulated by the empowerment of the soul's faculties to impart these truths, this reality of God. The baser desires of the individual, those conditions that have been so deliberately nurtured by the mind of man that are of a material and baser nature, give way to a higher self, a higher truth, and a higher thought and desire. So the transformation of the individual comes to the fore, to the conscious self through the power of a soul awakened. Thus, the healing of your world will begin with each individual, who is willing to step beyond the parameters of the human condition, those set of thoughts and expectations, to that of their inner soul. That place within which harbors so much that is unknown by the mind until the soul is awakened and the mind comes to accept this awakening and works with the soul in the expression of these newfound desires and thoughts and inclinations, where love becomes the primary influence upon all that is expressed within the individual. The power of love motivates and heals and brings to harmony everything that is within the individual. In this way, a new journey begins, a reformation of the individual, who has been indoctrinated and infected by the human condition. In this healing and reformation, those things that are of error and darkness, of the baser inclinations, are dissolved by the power of love. The soul glows and expands as the individual continues to draw within themselves through prayer this great gift from God. The individual benefits by the presence of angels, who are the redeemed souls who have gone through this process of awakening and healing, and have been changed irrevocably by the power of love. Thus, the journey is not truly done alone but is accompanied by the angels of God, the celestial inhabitants of the kingdom of God, and by those who join you in this journey and understand that which you embarked upon and are experiencing within. Beloved souls, it is time for humanity to acknowledge that even with great knowledge of the mind and the material things, there is so much more to be discovered that is not of the material but of the soul and of God's creation. These hidden things will be hidden no longer, beloved souls. Those parts of yourself that are hidden will be known, and you will come to love yourself as you have never loved yourself. You will come to love life as you have never loved life. You will come to love God as you have never loved God. These things, though they sound simple and the mind often finds irrelevant to the pursuit of the material world and life, will bring deep and profound truth and meaning to your life. Without a soul joining with the mind in partnership and expression of a life, this depth of meaning, this understanding of life cannot come, for the mind only has within it a limited capacity to understand things that are beyond the material. It is the soul that is gifted with powerful insights and is capable of experiencing the great awakenings and knowings which come with knowing God and God's creations. Humanity only has a small portion of truth and has experienced many things, but often those things are distorted and misunderstood. The great religions of man are merely a reflection of this distortion, containing seeds of truth, there is no doubt, but in order to nurture those seeds, humanity must come off its high pedestal, its idea that he is great and that he shall know all with the further development of the material mind. Humanity must go humbly within themselves and beseech God to show them the way, the higher road towards all that is of truth, all that contains the seeds of his destiny, for without the acknowledgement of the soul, such a destiny cannot be realized. It is time for humanity to step forward into the light of God's truth. There is freedom there, freedom from all the restrictions and constrictions of the human condition, freedom from doubt and in time, freedom from pain. They will be empowered with truth, the truth of love, and come to understand the power of love, that the greatest love of all is that of the love of God, and that this love, this empowerment, is waiting for the soul's acceptance and desire. May God bless you upon that journey, beloved souls. May you come to know your true selves. May humanity come to know its true potentials and abilities, that this may come with a simple prayer that may lead, and will lead to eternal progress and awakening. There are no limits to the journey of the soul. You will find for yourselves, if you but make the effort in this simple but sincere way, that all is available for your exploration and experience, that you will know that you are loved beyond any capacity to truly comprehend, and that you will feel the power of this love invigorating, uplifting, transforming, and healing all that is within you. May you find your way, beloved souls. May you know this truth, and may you practice the truth of love in your life. I am Jesus, Master of the celestial heavens, and I have come to implore the world to set down those things that are dark and of error and bring pain and destruction, and seek your inner salvation through the love of God. May God bless you. I shall come again and speak. I thank you for listening to me at this time. God bless you all. My prayers are with and for humanity, for their upliftment, the transformation of your world from a place of darkness to a place of light. It begins with you and your expression and choices in the world. May God bless you and bring wisdom to your soul and truth expressed through every part of your beautiful being. God bless you.